What is up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd Lore. I saw Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness on Friday, and let me just say it was a masterpiece. From the beautiful visuals to the amazing acting by Elizabeth Olsen, this movie is one for the books, and I will definitely be seeing it again. Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch were already two of my favorite Marvel characters before this film was announced, and I'm just so ecstatic to have gotten this movie with these two. Warning, this video does contain spoilers for Doctor Strange 2, as I will be discussing the ending and the post-credit scene from the film and also breaking it down. I will also be talking about how the ending and the post-credit scene tie into future Marvel projects and what it will mean for the future of Doctor Strange overall. So, I know you're probably wondering about what that weird extra eye is and what exactly it means and who exactly that creepy lady in the purple is discussing incursions. So now that we have everything established, I won't waste any more of your time and I will get right into it. Mind-bending ride we had exploring the multiverse, the movie ends on not only a mysterious note, but also just a bit of a sad one. After Doctor Strange dreamwalks and takes over the dead body of his variant self to protect America Chavez from Scarlet Witch, Chavez learns to control her power and then punches Scarlet Witch to her variant's universe to get her kids to see her while she's losing her mind. After Billy and Tommy from the alternate Westview see our version of Wanda attack their version of her, they both scream and cower out of fear, calling her a witch. Wanda, obviously saddened by this, then tells her she would never ever hurt them, and in the process realizes her wrongdoing throughout the film. She gets on her knees for her variant self to essentially ask for forgiveness. As you can tell, she deeply regrets what she's done. Her variant then tells her Billy and Tommy will always be loved, and Chavez punches Wanda back to our reality. Now back in our reality and facing deep sadness and grief, Wanda starts to use her power to then destroy the Wundagore throne with her still on it, as Chavez and Wong go back to Carmontage. As Wanda destroys the throne, it collapses on top of her, and as the structure falls down the mountain, we see a very small burst of red chaos magic. If one thing's for sure, they obviously are not going to kill off Wanda, as she is one of the most popular characters in the MCU, and Marvel has already announced she will play a very big role in coming movies and events throughout the next few years. Rumors have also gone around that Elizabeth Olsen signed a big multi-picture deal extension, securing her spot as the Scarlet Witch for quite some time. Elizabeth Olsen also really loves playing the character in general, and it's clear the big heads over at Marvel love her too, so I don't see that being a huge shocker if it turns out to be true. Plus, I am a huge Scarlet Witch fan myself, so I wouldn't be upset with that. America Chavez then punches a hole to the universe Doctor Strange and variant Christine are at, and Chavez sends her home and then also takes Doctor Strange back to Carmontage. It then cuts to Chavez now training as a sorceress, and Strange and Wong have a small conversation about happiness, which is a very big recurring theme throughout the film. Strange is then seen walking down the street where he collapses and starts to hold his head. Afterwards, he pops back into the camera and a mysterious third eye pops into his head. The camera cuts and the credits roll. After the credits roll, we then cut to another scene of Strange walking down the street, where then a lady in a purple costume pops out of a portal from the dark dimension, stating that Strange caused an incursion and that she needs his help to stop Dormammu. Now, there is a lot going on in that ending, so let's break it down piece by piece. First, let's get into Strange and his third eye, which in the comics, Doctor Strange's third eye is in fact the Eye of Agamotto. Now, the Eye of Agamotto in the comics and the MCU are slightly different, but also very similar. The Eye of Agamotto amulet we see in the MCU is also used in the comics, but in a slightly different way, as it does not hold the Time Stone in the comics and is essentially a less powerful version of Strange's third eye. In the comics, Doctor Strange's third eye, also dubbed the Eye of Agamotto, functions pretty much the same way the MCU has been using the amulet and the Time Stone. Except in the comics, since they don't use the Time Stone in the actual amulet, the actual Eye of Agamotto is held in it, and when Doctor Strange uses the amulet, he then gains the third eye on his head. Now, I assume the biggest reason the MCU made this change is because the director of the first Doctor Strange film said the Eye of Agamotto from the comics was too powerful, hence them just using the amulet. In the comics, the Eye of Agamotto is just that, the Eye of Agamotto. Agamotto is one of the Vishanti. three supreme magic entities who Doctor Strange pulls all of his magic abilities from. Lots of people like Doctor Strange and Wong don't naturally or inherently have magic like Wanda do. They have to borrow their powers from entities who choose to share pieces of their power. So at any given moment, they could very well take a portion of their power back, which reduces the user's magic strength, and there was even a point in Marvel Comics where they did, because Doctor Strange was entirely too powerful and there was almost nothing he couldn't handle. Doctor Strange in the film is pretty much child's play compared to his comic counterpart, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a pretty big difference in terms of power. His comic counterpart is much stronger and more set in his place as Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, which makes sense since our Doctor Strange is still pretty new to his role as Sorcerer Supreme, or second in charge of the Sorcerer Supreme after the events in Infinity War due to Strange being snapped. Going back to Doctor Strange and his third eye, the MCU adapting this from the comics is honestly amazing, and it's really cool they're starting to build up Doctor Strange in his movies the same way they do in the comics, while also being its own thing. Alright, now if you're wondering who the lady with the purple costume and the blonde hair is, that is none other than Clea. For comic fans, this is a huge win, and overall for the movies, it's amazing to introduce somebody like Clea. If you aren't aware who Clea is the wife / ex-wife of Doctor Strange, depending on what you're reading, and is also the niece of Dormammu. Dormammu has a sister named Umar, who in the comics was said to be the next ruler of the Dark Dimension until she became increasingly violent with Dormammu after the birth of Clea, which left her weakened and sad, after which he then banished her to another dimension as punishment. This of course left Clea, who grew up to worship and be a disciple of Dormammu. As for Strange and Clea meeting for the first time, the MCU and comics have slight variations. In the comics, the Ancient One, who is now dead in the MCU of course, sent Doctor Strange to the Dark Dimension to try and stop Dormammu before he came over to take Earth. While in the Dark Dimension, Clea met Doctor Strange and instantly gravitated towards him, eventually trying to convince Strange to not fight Dormammu as Strange was willing to risk his life to stop him. After feeling betrayed by his niece Clea, Dormammu imprisoned her and carried on with his battle with Doctor Strange. During the battle, the mindless ones who Dormammu had imprisoned as well escaped, and Strange offered his help to stop them. In return for his help, Strange asked that Clea be released, with Dormammu saying yes. She then became a sorceress under Strange and his eventual wife. In the most recent Doctor Strange comic run, we see him passing away and then giving her the title of Sorcerer Supreme to have her uphold the mantle. In the MCU, on the other hand, Clea comes through a portal from the Dark Dimension asking aid from Doctor Strange to stop Dormammu, and mentions Strange causing an incursion. Incursions were mentioned multiple times throughout the movie, and if you don't know about them, they are a huge deal. In one of the biggest and best comic stories called Secret Wars, which essentially rebooted the entire Marvel comic universe, is where the concept originated from. Yes, there are two versions of Secret Wars, one from the 80s and then the one from 2015. I am referencing the one from 2015, although they are both amazing and iconic stories. Incursions are essentially when two universes collide and then explode on one another, with Earth being the colliding point. In the Secret Wars event, Molecule Man from the main comic universe killed an alternate version of himself 25 years in the past, which then caused the early death of that universe. But Molecule Man himself said that the only reason he killed himself was because he was already investigating the incursions in the present day. With this major contradiction in the multiversal timeline present, the stability of the multiverse cracked, causing universes to collide in one another. Incursions last for about 8 hours, where the two Earths coexist next to one another until they collide, and the biggest way to stop an incursion is to destroy one of the Earths, which would then save the other Earth and save both universes entirely. Now, it's very unclear if she's referencing the incursion Strange from Universe 838 created, or if our Doctor Strange and our Wanda created during the events of the movie. If I had to guess, she is referencing an incursion created during the events of the film based on the wording she used. Now, I may have misinterpreted, but if I'm correct, the reason the incursion started in the 838 universe is because their Doctor Strange decided to dreamwalk to find ways to fight Thanos. While we don't know everything about dreamwalking, we do know it's a spell from the Darkhold, which means it obviously can't be any good. Wong himself even said the spell was very forbidden. After dreamwalking and being corrupted by the Darkhold, it caused the incursion, and the Illuminati killed him before he became more corrupted. Now, if dreamwalking is what caused the incursion in 838 universe, dreamwalking would cause one in ours as well, especially considering we saw the Scarlet Witch dreamwalk not only once, but twice, and then saw Doctor Strange dreamwalk into a dead body, which the souls from the Hell Dimension obviously had an issue with. Overall, this ending had some major implications for not only the future of Doctor Strange, but also the future of the entire MCU. Introducing the Jiraiya of Agamotto and Clea leaves an extremely exciting and comic lore-filled future for Doctor Strange movies and spin-offs. There are so many ways they could go and will go after this film, such as the introduction of characters such as Nightmare, Dr. Voodoo, Umar, and honestly even more. There are major rumors of talks of a Wong TV show to be a thing at Disney Plus sometime, and Benedict Wong actually even commented on it, kind of talking about the possibility, talking about a Ned and Wong centered TV show, and I honestly would actually really like that. I personally would love the introduction of Strange Academy with Wong, America Chavez, and Ned, especially with the amount of available sorcerers at a low on Earth right now. With some more time in development, we will eventually end up with a much more powerful and experienced Doctor Strange in the MCU, which will see him in almost an Iron Man-esque role in terms of respect and being a centrifugal head for all the superheroes. Doctor Strange will definitely be playing a very important part in events to come. As for the future of the MCU, with the introduction of incursions, it's very likely Marvel will go down the path of Secret Wars at some point, and it seems it would be sooner rather than later like most people originally thought. As for how they will do Secret Wars is entirely unclear, as the comic landscape at the time of the event and our current MCU landscape couldn't be more different. As always, Marvel will make adjustments to the story based on what they want to tell and the characters and plotlines they have available at the moment. Honestly, I couldn't be more excited for everything that Marvel has planned for the future, and if you are also excited, feel free to subscribe as I put out daily content on Marvel and nerd content all around. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and leave a comment letting me know your thoughts on the ending and the post-credit scene.